So today's video is all about spin, that magical, mythical word spin. I'm going to show you how to create it, how to create that low spinner, but also how to create that soft land shot where you get more of an early spin as opposed to that late spin. I'm going to talk about spinning out of bunkers and pitch shots as well. So we're going to start in this situation here where you've got a tight fairway lie, and it's really quite a unique situation here where it falls away on the right, so it rules out a putt really. If you putt, it's going to be very difficult. You would probably miss the green to get it anywhere near this pin. You've then got a big steep slope and then it feeds down. So this is where the low spinner is actually a real viable option. I would sort of put an asterisk next to the name low spinner because I do think it's the shot that everyone wants and you don't always need. I'm going to show you why you don't necessarily need it in this situation as well, but I know a lot of you like to see it spin, that shot that Rory hit the Ryder Cup, for example. Also make sure if you are looking to create spin, you do need a premium ball, so you'll need a good quality golf ball. It's a soft feeling ball with a lofted club. I'm using my 60 here, okay, and a dry surface, so make sure you've got the right environment to create spin. Right, so this low spinner, good option here, because I want to fire it in that bank, but I want spin as it's going up the bank because it's then quite quick the other side. So I need to make sure I keep the loft down, okay? I'm trying to take this 60 and de-loft it. I want that dynamic loft to get down maybe as low as 40 or 45 degrees and really make sure I am keeping it down, covering it more so it's skipping up that slope as it's spinning. And I'm going to achieve that by putting that ball position further back in the stance than I normally would. This is a specialist shot, okay? This isn't like my release one, stock, chip and run. This is a specialist shot for this type of situation. So ball on the right toe, quite a lot of shaft lean here. And what I'm really looking to do here is get my chest in front of the ball, move that low point forward to help squeeze it in low, and really make sure when I go back that this 60 degrees is getting turned down. You can see how the loft is getting down. I'm turning it down, right hand's a lot more on top, and then I'm moving through more like a release zero really. I'm not releasing the club at all, and that should hit it in nice and low with a short finish. If you want to try and spin it, you want a short finish. So let's see if we can play this shot up the slope. It's going to break a little bit right to left and see if we can get a little bit of check as it's going up there. So you can see how it's checked in the slope and fed out towards the hole. Well, a bit of left to right that I didn't see there. But that was a really nicely played shot. It was a 60 degree, but it went in like a 6-iron really in terms of ball flight. But the benefit of using a 60 over a 6-iron here is it's spinning like crazy on a 6-iron launch. So it made its way up the slope with a ton of spin. Less loft, it would have gone then, just way past the hole. All right, let's show you that one again. So 60 degrees. Back foot or even outside the back foot. A load of shaft lean, right hand on top, loft down, short finish, release zero. Make sure it goes in low. Again, fired it in. There's the spin now, look. Nice and close to the hole. So you will get these little pinchy divots. That's to be expected. It's important to keep turning. If you notice when I'm playing these shots, I'm still opening up through the ball. Rotation through the ball is really important. And the rotation through the ball allows the handle to move up a little bit rather than traveling down, okay? So the rotation stops it digging in, basically. Don't need to think about that. The rotation will give you that for free in terms of how the club head works. All right, so ball outside. Loads of shaft lean. I'm hitting a 60, but it's coming out super low. A little bit of turn through it, checking, and then it starts to pull up by the hole, okay? So a useful shot. Do I think it's a shot you need? Not necessarily. I think if you want to play on the PGA Tour, or do play on the PGA Tour, you absolutely need it. So the greens are lightning, you're often in run-off areas, and you need to skip one up the slope like I've got to do here. But look, remember, you don't always need spin. In this sort of situation here, you could use a pitching wedge, and you could land it at the bottom of the slope, and I think the wedge is going to give me enough control. It shouldn't race too far past the pin. And you just do a stock release one now. And you can see how that's checking and just gently running out. It's came a little short, but easy shot. I think for a lot of you, this is more repeatable. Okay, so it's running out a little bit more. There you go. That's just about my closest there with the pitching wedge. So really think about that shot But it is a shot, if you want to develop your game to get that low spinner in there, it's a fantastic shot to get in your locker. So we talked about how you hit that low spinner, but this situation here, I'm in a bit of a runoff area. I've got a bunker to go over. The green is sloping down from the top of the bunker to the pin, and there's not that much green to work with. So that first shot we just went through is the wrong shot here. I'll use this yellow ball and show you. So this is me playing the same sort of shot, ball back, quite a lot of lean, firing it in there really nice. But you can see that first bounce is just way too aggressive. Doesn't give it a chance for the spin to kick in, and it's off the back of the green. So that ball back driving shot, fantastic when you got green and you want to skip it. But in this situation, it's a wrong shot. That ball first contact isn't going to slow the ball down. We need an indirect contact. We need a release two shot now, a soft landing release two shot to get that ball hanging in the air and landing on that firm downslope a lot softer than that first one, which went in way too low. So yeah, this is your classic release two. The lie is okay, there's enough grass under the ball. So I'm going to play this ball position onto the left heel, light grip. Make sure I'm getting this club in a toe-up position like this. We don't want to be shutting the face. That's good if you want to hit that lower shot. But I want a bit more height here, so I'm folding my right elbow and getting that club into a toe-up position. Grip pressure really light, so the club can drop on its own forces, and then it can slide and open up. And the goal here is to get that ball like hanging in the air with no real forward momentum. There are times you want late spin, the times you want early spin. This is an early spin shot. We want that ball to land softly, so we're combining the spin of the strike with a little bit more flight. And a combination of a softer land angle with the spin of the ball will get the ball landing softly. So let's give this a go. I can't quite see from down here, but it looked like it. There we go, that's pretty good. So you can see how softly that landed. We've got the drone up, so you should be able to see there how that ball is just really softly landing. It's not going like that first shot, which had that aggressive first bounce. So ball forward, smooth, club is releasing. And again, slightly overhit that, but it's still stopped nice and quickly. So I think if you can just understand when you need the early spin, this one should really spin. And when you want that late spin, that is the key. You've got to look at the lie, you've got to build your golfing IQ, which is what it's all about. In this situation, that low one is totally not the shot. Ball forward, soft grip, sliding it under the ball. And that's what creates that soft landing shot. So that's the early spinner. So let's have a chat about bunker play now and how you spin the ball there. And really it's about good technique, which I'll go through, but it's really about how much sand you take. You want to be taking around about 1 inch of sand to really spin it. You want to be striking it here. When you start striking it here, you'll get some spin. You start striking it back here, the ball will basically top spin out and it'll just run loads. So try and get your contact point a little bit nearer the ball if you really look to spin it. And the lie itself is really important. Understand this lie here is what I define as spinning lie. That means there's not much sand there behind the ball in terms of like mounds behind it. If I was to move the ball into that lie, that's not really a lie that will spin because it's sort of banked up here, which means it's going to be very hard for me to skip that sand under the ball to create the height and the spin. So I've got to play that more down, understand it won't spin. So I bring my landing spot back because I anticipate it to run out. So reading the lie, if it's down, it won't particularly spin. If it's sitting up quite nicely like this one, okay, you've got a green light to spin it. So you must understand that because I do think a lot of golfers try and when they're expecting spin from a lie that just won't ever generate that spin. So the lie is everything, as I keep talking about on all my videos, okay? The lie really is the king. So we got a spinning lie. We're going to set up as normal, driver whip stance, left foot up out to 45, left knee pushing over the foot, ball position. I like it a little bit further back. I play about 1 to 2 balls inside my left heel, not too far forward. Sometimes when the ball is too far forward, I think it encourages you to take too much sand and sort of chunk and run it. So let's have it there. Open the face, take the grip after you've opened the face, settle down into the sand, hinge it and turn, and to spin it, I really like to feel like I'm just holding the angle a bit longer and I release a little bit later, like striking the match at the bottom to generate a little bit more club head speed. Let's give that a go. So weight forward with lower body, let's zip at the bottom. There you go, so that came out really nice, couple of checks and just fed out like a putt. You can see, really put that club into the holster and didn't take too much sand. And I did that because I was really concentrating on keeping my weight firmly over that left knee at all times. Swaying is going to get you having inconsistent impact points. So weight forward, hinge, zip at the bottom, release 2 to 3, put it in that holster to spin it more. Again, a little bit heavy that time, but it's done all right. Let's try that again. Maybe you can zip this a bit more. There you go, it's got a ton of spin on it. So you can see you'd be quite aggressive, and it's not getting aggressive too early. You want to feel like you're getting that speed sort of through the sand and not too early. And that really then puts the spin onto the ball. So you can get one a little bit closer. I can't really see the bottom of the pin from down here. Got to carry it a little further. There you go, watch this spin. There you go. So I got that a little bit closer to the ball, so I hit that probably about ½ an inch of sand before, and you could see the picks on the TaylorMade ball there really zipping. And again, loads of spin on that one. So that's how you generate more spin. Sometimes you don't want spin in a bunker. As I say, sometimes it's safer. And let's say you want to run the ball out. Let's say I just want to carry it and run it. Then I will play a little bit more sand with a slightly longer follow through, going more this way with the arms. And you can see how that will land, and it will want to run. So it wants to run out a little bit more. And then look, this one here, look, big bank of sand behind it. Inevitably that's going to run more. I just play these normal really and anticipate it's going to land and it's going to want to run out more. As you can see, that was never going to spin. So just understand when you get that bank of sand behind it, it's going to run out for free. It's just getting the golfing IQ to understand that lie read and then just anticipating it and bringing your landing spot back a little bit further. Okay, so that's spin out the bunkers, how you achieve it, understand how the lie affects it. Let's get into some pitch shots now. Okay, so you're understanding now how to get that low, late spinner, how to get that early, soft spinner, how to judge it a little bit as well in terms of like golfing IQ and making the right shot selection and some bunker tips. Now we'll talk about pitching. Got about a 45, 50 yard shot here. And you can use the same principles we talked about earlier. You can decide whether you want to fly this in low and get a big first bounce, reasonable second bounce, and then see some spin. With a release 1 style pitch, or you can float it in a little bit more and get like a shot that doesn't get quite an aggressive first bounce. So again, it depends on the situation. It depends how you're feeling. Some of you might be better at release 1 or release 2. But obviously if you've got less green to work with, you need to fly it more. And if you've got more, like in this situation, I'm going up a slope. So it's a good idea here to do a release 1 pitch. Got my 56, you play it just back of center, hinge, and then you go in nice and low here with this release 1 finish. So it's like a pinchy, quite a low finish. And the goal here is to send it in low with that late spin. So it's a hinged release 1, got my 56. So you can see how it's firing in low, a little bit of late spin there, and it sort of finishes up there fairly close to the hole. But you can see how I've really driven that in with spin. The first bounce was aggressive, which suits this shot because it's got up the slope and then the spinner's kicked in. So ball back, hands forward, hinge, keep the loft down, and then we go into that release 1 position. Again, really low, a little bit of check there at the end. Oh, nearly went in. But you can see it's firing in low with that check. Now, if I want to throw that in a little bit higher, then you've got to read the lie. You make sure the lie's got some grass under it. But this is where you can now start to release the club a little bit more. So feel like it's swinging more over your shoulder, more like a release 2. So it'll go in higher. It's not really the shot for this situation because if I come up a bit short, it'll hit with that upslope and it will just stop. But in certain situations, this is definitely the shot. The ball moves forward now, left heel. I'm releasing the club under the ball now, letting the face rotate over a bit draw styly with the club face, but very much a release too. You can see that's gone in higher, carried the mound, and that stopped really, really quickly. So that's like the early spinner. So it just landed and stopped, whereas the first one was driven in. So this is what you've got to start thinking about. Think about the contours on the green. Do you want to carry it a lot? Okay, like I just did there, or do you want to fire it in low with spin? But don't forget as well, sometimes you don't really need spin. And a really good option here is if you're using a pitching wedge and you land it into the slope here, but it won't have enough spin on the ball because of the club I'm using. So it'll want to move forward. You don't have to worry too much about the spin. So same sort of thing. It's more like a kind of a long stock release, one chip and run here, but I don't have to worry too much about the spin with this club. And you can see there, that's running down. Oh, I just caught the fringe. Let me try one more there. I'm going to carry it another yard. So you'll see here, there's very little spin on the ball, and that ball is wanting to run out and chase out a lot more. There we go. So there's no spin. That will be running out a little bit past the hole. Wrong shot there. You need a bit of spin because that's so quick there. So there's some options for you, whether you want that low flighted, late spinner, a higher spinner, or you don't want to take the spin out and use left off. It all depends. It all depends on the situation. There's many ways to do it. So hopefully that's helped you understand spin a little bit more, when you need it, whether you want it late or early, and when you don't need it, which is usually actually a lot more than you think. And hopefully that will help your short game going forward, and we'll see you next time.